So we're going to be moving on from our multiplying 2-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers in this session, and we're going to continue using our expanded method, so that partitioning of our double-digit number, so that we can rely on our known times table facts to help us. But this time, what's going to be the most difficult thing is going to be applying that strategy that we learnt in our last session to numbers where we're going to have to be looking at regrouping. So we're going to have to think back to our addition, where we were carrying things from one place value column to the next due to the amount of digits that we can have. So we're going to be looking at that today. So in this first question from our textbook, we're going to be looking at the calculations that Max and Jamila are working out and using our new strategies to be able to answer these questions. So question 1a is asking, which calculation is Max working out? So we can see straight in front of him that he's got two different methods here. He's got his base 10 and he's got his place value counters, where he's using pretty much the same method, I'll be honest, to work out the same calculation. So first step is, what calculation is he actually working out? And then looking at the answer that he's saying, is he correct with that answer? And why do you think he is or he isn't? And that takes us to question 1b from our textbook. And in this case, we're looking at Jamila, and we're asking which multiplication is Jamila working out. So we can see she's using her base 10 model for this. And then once you've worked out what calculation she's working out, can you actually work out what the answer is going to be? So pause the video now, go to your textbook, and I want you to try and solve question 1a, which calculation is Max working out, and is his answer correct? And then 1b, which is what multiplication is Jamila working out, and what is her answer to that calculation? So let's start by looking at question 1a, which calculation is Max working out? And the second part of that question is he correct? Now, I've recreated Max's place value grid and placed in my place value counters to show the calculation that he's looking at. So we can see on here that I have one lot of 10 and 2 to make 12, a second lot of 10 and 2 which makes another 12, and a third lot of 10 and 2 to make 12. So what we're looking at with this is his first question is going to be 3 times 12. So we have one lot of 12, two lots of 12, and 3 lots of 12 to give us a question of 12 times 3. Now Max has given his answer is 32, so he's saying that 12 times 3 lots of 12, gives us an answer of 32. So let's see whether he's correct on this. Now on this we can see that we have our ones. So in our ones we have 3 lots of 2, which in this case is going to give us an answer of 6. When we look at our tens, we've got 3 lots of 10 to give us an answer of 30. And we're going to add those two numbers up, 30 plus 6, to give us an answer of 36. So we can see straight away that Max is incorrect. He's got the calculation right, he's got the method and the strategy right, but what he's not done is actually counted the numbers properly. So we've got 3 times 2 to give us 6, and 3 times 10 to give us 30. Notice how when I'm working on this one, I'm looking at our ones before I'm starting to look at our tens. It will make far more sense when we start looking at our regrouping strategies. Now question 1b referred to Jamila, and we were looking at Jamila's base 10 concrete model and asking which multiplication is Jamila working on, and what is the answer to this calculation. Now once again, what I've tried to do here is recreate that same calculation. So we can see that we have 2 tens and 4 ones 3 times. So we've got 24 times 3. So the same as our previous calculation, we can see that we split it into our tens and ones. So I'm going to start with my ones. I'm going to say 4 times 3. And for my tens, I'm going to be looking at 20 times 3. So let's have a look at our ones. So 4 times 3 gives me an answer of 4, 8, 12. And 20 times 3 gives me 20, 40, and 60. So now I'm going to add these two numbers together, which is 60 plus 12. Now this is the reason why I start with the ones column, then the tens, then the tens, then the hundreds, and so on as we move forward through working on larger numbers, and it's because of this regrouping method. Now when you look at this, you can see I've got my 60 add 12, and what I've done here is I've grouped 10 ones. Remembering my place value, I can only have one digit in each place value column, so in this case I've got 12 within my ones. I need to work out what to do with that, so I have one digit. So in this case 10 ones becomes 110, and I can regroup. So now you can see that my 10 ones have disappeared and they've become one lot of 10, leaving me with those 2 ones left over. So now my 60 plus 12 has become 70 plus 2. And when we add those two numbers together, 70 plus 2, it gives us an answer of 72. So going back to my original calculation, 60 plus 12, well, 60 plus 10 gives me 70, add on 2 gives me my answer of 72. But it's that regrouping model that we've seen which is going to be the important thing. This is where we're going to prevent ourselves from making that mistake and not realizing 10 ones becomes 110, and we're going to start recording that number down incorrectly by accident, just as we saw with Max. The method was correct. Somehow he's got confused with that recording the answer. And this is generally when we go to regrouping where that mistake happens. Now we're going to try the Think Together book question from your textbook. So question 1 is looking at Max is now working out 4 times 23. Help Max work out the answer. So in this case, we can see it straight in front of us. We've got our 4 lots of 23, 4 lots of 2 10s, 4 lots of 3 1s. And that allows us to begin with this idea of this column is simply asking me 3 times 4, and this one is simply asking me 20 times 4. And by using those two numbers, then I can work out my answer. So what I want you to do is complete that idea that we can see in the book. We have 4 times 3 equals something, 4 times 20 equals something. Add those two answers together to find yourself the total of 4 times 23. Now pause the video, give question 1 a go, looking at the model we can see on the board. So looking at this idea of always starting with our smallest value, so 3 times 4 gives us an answer of 12. 20 times 4 gives me 2 times 4, which is 8. 2 1s times 4 is 8 1s. 2 10s times 4 gives me 8 10s. So 20 times 4 gives me 80. So now I have the number sentence 80 plus 12. And again, I can do that regrouping. I take these 10 1s, I move them over into here, and we can see that I've got 2 1s left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 10s to give me 92. And let's see whether this is right. 80 plus 10 is 90. 90 plus 2 is 92 to give us an answer of 92. Now let's have a little look on question 2, because it's really important that we're getting this regrouping model really solid in our minds before we move on to the independent work. So let's have a look at our 17 times 2. And once again, what we can do here is I'm going to be asking you what number sentence is represented in here, what number sentence is represented here, and then we can add those two together. So this one is something times something, this one here is something times something. Find the answer to both and then add those together. So now pause the video and give this one a go. So we can see here we had our 7 times 2, which gives us our answer of 14. Here we have our 10 times 2 to give us our answer of 20. So we're looking at 20 plus 14. And again, I can do my regrouping here. So there's 7. This makes it 10. 10 1s we're going to put in here. So let me do my extra 10. We can cross these out, which gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 1s. 1, 2, 3 10s to give me an answer of 34. Let's see if we're right. 20 plus 10 is 30. Add on 4 gives me 34 to give me my answer of 34. Now, my recommendation on this would be to keep this in front of you, just so you can really see that model. And I want you now to try that independent work. So try the challenge, then move on to that independent work in the workbook. And good luck. I look forward to seeing how you're getting on with this. And don't stress so much if you're finding this difficult and slow progress at the moment. We're going to be continuing with this again tomorrow, so we'll have even more time to make ourselves really confident in this strategy. So good luck with your work.